What's up YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to break down the TA. We're going to look at the options chain. We're going to go through both Ortex and Fintel. Of course, we're going to look to see if there's any news going on, see if there's any George tweets or anything from Metamaterials themselves. Also, we're going to have my prediction at the end of the video. In case you haven't noticed, I've got my camera set up. I've got my Yeti mic on the boom, and oh, I got my ring light. So that means we should be able to start doing some live streams. I'm going to obviously start getting my face inside some of these videos. All I want you guys to do is just let me know how it looks. How is everything looking on your end? Leave me comments in the comment below. And while you're there, go ahead and hit the like button. And right next to that, I believe, is the subscribe button. If the like button turns blue, you did it right. If it turns white, well, you didn't. So, all right. Let's go ahead and crack into the TA, shall we? Today we opened up the day at $5.18, which was that channel I really wanted to be in. I said we would probably open close to the 520 mark. We hit an immediate high of $5.43, which, as I have always said in the past, to have a big parabolic move like that really quick is never good. It's always going to gap fill, and this was no exception. It absolutely did. It came from 543 all the way down to the 520 mark where it opened up, complete 100% gap fill. Did a quick little bounce, basically a fake out towards that $5.30 mark, and then shot down to 505. And at this point, this is where my bull prediction really did take over. So we did not have a bad day. We didn't have a bad day at all. We had a great day. We did tap 505. We did a quick retracement up to the 510 level, back down to 505, and launched. This is basically a double bottom. It wasn't a true double bottom because it didn't come all the way to the 505 mark, but keep this in mind. Anytime it makes this kind of tracement, that's a double bottom, okay? It doesn't have to absolutely touch it to the absolute penny. In fact, I do believe if you were to look up by definition, it allows like a 3 or 5% variance, something like that, of this number, not of like the overall stock price. It did make the bounce, and it made a run to 520. And as I called out, it will probably tap 520 at least one time, if not twice, before finally trying to break out. So what we had here was the tap right here, 520. We came down and we consolidated. And this was basic barcoding right here. In fact, let's go ahead and put this up so you guys can see it really well. Boom. There. Beautiful consolidation in this channel. We had two great levels of consolidation today. There and there. All right, so once we came down in here, we consolidated for a while. We did a quick breakout down towards that 505 mark again, but we didn't quite go low enough. And then, boom, right up into the 520 channel. We tapped and ran. 520 showing up again as an extremely strong level, because we came up, touched 530, came down, and bounced again off 520, consolidating through the rest of the day. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the volume. That was the one thing that was holding us back from breaking past 530, getting to that 535 mark to break through. We need more volume. We did all of this movement on a very low 11.5 million in volume. We finished the day up 3% in the green. In fact, it was 3.12% in the green. That's fantastic. Sorry, I'm looking around. I'm still not used to the camera thing. I'll get used to it eventually. But I'm looking at all my notes that I have laid out here. So, all right. So, with that being said, let's move. Oh, last thing I wanted to show you. The consolidation in the end of the day was in an upward trend. If you notice this, we started down here at 520 and moved gradually up towards the 530 mark. Let's go ahead and move over to the one-day chart. Yesterday I had said, in order for us to consider this a true trend breakout or reversal of a trend, we needed to open and close above this candle. We absolutely did that. In fact, what we did today is we turned that candle into a doji. This is a green doji candle, which is extremely bullish. Anytime you see a green doji candle, it's an indecision candle, showing basically that there was more buying pressure than there was selling pressure in this trading session, and that you could expect for more buying pressure to move in the next trading session. Now, it's not a guarantee. Nothing in the stock market is a guarantee. Largest casino in the world never guarantees. But this is just a very good indicator. All right, let's move on to the options chain. All right, so extremely bullish day again. Even though we had low volume, we still had a great bullish day in the options chain. We traded a total of 12,000 contracts, 11,000 of which were calls, 880 of them were puts. That puts us at a 90% plus calls to a little less than 10% puts, and the IV is sitting at a really nice 140.79%. Very comfortable range for new investors to come in. Let's move over to Ortex, shall we? All right, so here we are. Ortex on the day. Now, again, every morning I always try to put out a briefing. This morning I did as well. It was a little bit late. I get busy at work. Unfortunately, it just gets tied up. Remember, guys, I'm at work Eastern Standard Time every morning, 7 a.m., and I don't get off work until about 6 p.m. every day. Come home, eat dinner, then I start cracking into this stuff for you guys. So you actually get the most up-to-date information. This is the end of the day info. None of this is going to change, and none of this up here across the top of the board is going to change throughout the day. This will update every morning, and that's the only time it updates. Now, this right here does change throughout the day, intraday, and I do try and put this out there every day a little bit. I was unable to do so today. Now, it looks like today we did have some returning of some shares. Now, always keep this in mind. Just because they return shares does not necessarily mean that they were physically shorted into the market. A lot of times some of these hedge funds and these market makers will grab up the shares and they'll just hold on to them, and then they'll just return them. Basically, it's a head game. It's a mental game saying, haha, look, we're returning a whole bunch of shares. But what they're not doing is returning the shares that they have physically shorted into the stock. And what you're also going to notice is that a lot of the shares that are being returned aren't the really far out ones. They're the newer shares, and that's why you're seeing them borrow them almost right back. Now, today we did show a return of 2.25 million, but in all honesty, that's a drop in the bucket when you've got almost 53 million in short interest. That is a whopping 22.78% of our free float. Now, always keep this in mind. We do have some DD that was done a while back. In fact, if we go to the MMATR site, we'll be able to take a look at that DD. So this is done by right here, Dramatic Shower 3028. And again, this is on the MMATR board. I do believe it's also on the MMAT standard board on Reddit. You can come in here and you can read this entire thing for yourself. I also do have a video explaining a lot of this entire DD page here, but the ultimate thing I want to show you is this, showing how the float ultimately could be wrong. And there's a lot of proof in it. So I actually firmly believe in this DD right here, showing that the free float is actually only about 109 million. And that's because you can remove, the inside ownership, institutions, and the MMATX stuff. So, I'm not going to concentrate on this any longer. Let's move on to Fintel. All right, so let's hit refresh. Oh, one other thing I wanted to cover, I think. Yes. Current number of days on loan has gone to, well, it's at 18.39. And that is updated as of yesterday. So tomorrow it may go a little lower, it may go up. I would actually look for it to go a little lower because they did return. We did have a negative 4% short interest today. So since they were returning some shares, you could expect for the average number of days on loan to go down. But again, that doesn't affect the overall anything as far as it goes. Yes, the numbers may come down, but you've got to expect them to. The stock itself is still going to keep moving forward because it is still a unicorn. I mean, it's probably one of the best stocks to buy on the market today. Through all of this red that we have had this week, Meta has held strong, having minimal returns, and have actually regained all of those returns this week. I mean, we've done that. So again, like I said, we're stabilizing, we're becoming a strong stock, and we're very favorable. All right, move on to the Fintel. We're currently at 83 out of 100. Well, I'm going to round up. It's close enough. 83 out of 100 on the short squeeze score. That puts us at 52 out of this many stocks. And again, I always want to stress the fact that I don't feel we're ready for a short squeeze. And you know what? I'm going to tap into that right now. I'm going to tell you why. So the one thing you want to keep in mind is we have dropped from like $21 and some change from the day this thing became MMAT from Torch. If you start trying to have the shares cover now, other than, of course, the Torch ones, those ones won't be included in this conversation. But all of these shares that were building up as short interest, if you start having them cover now, they're going to cover cheap. If you wait for them to, say, get to, let's back up, call it even this level, which is $12, look at how much more room you've covered in this gap. Now, ultimately, what I would like to see how this is a gap, there's nothing here. I would like to see the stock fill this gap before it even begins to squeeze. That means I don't want to see a squeeze until about $14. And I've said that before. I want to be in the teens before this thing squeezes because of this gap fill right here. If we can't fill this, we come back down into this area because this is where we're strong. We've got to fill the gap before we push. That's the reason why I say that. So always keep in mind when I'm talking about a squeeze, I don't want it right now. I don't think we're ready for it. We really need to build up the strength in the higher numbers first. And I do think we're going to be getting there relatively quick just because the way the stock's been holding so strong through all of the red. Back to the internet. All right, let's move down. Currently showing that there's 150,000 shares available to be lent out to be shorted onto the market. And that is according to a leading prime brokers. But always keep this in mind. All of these sites that we use to gauge the stock market, they're all going to be relatively close to each other. They're not all reporting from the same exchanges. They're not all going to have the exact same data, but they're going to be close because the overall market is going to run close when it comes right down to it. They want it to. It keeps the eyes off of them. I'm talking about the hedgies and the market makers. If you ever want to know, when I say them and all of that jazz, I'm talking about the ones that manipulate. So currently showing their short borrow free rate is at about 18%. Pretty much in line with Ortex. They're at about 20. Overall cost to borrow 15. Back to the Fintel. All right, down here. Good. Everything's updated. So yesterday I did say we'd be at about the 41% for the end of the day yesterday. Today, here we are. So FINRA volume is accounting for about half of the overall volume, FINRA being the dark pools. The short volume in the dark pool today was 3,144,981 for about half of the overall volume in the pools to be shorted into the market. CBOE showing about 1 million. PSX, BX combined, there you go, for all of them together. And that's putting us at about 53.5% short volume ratio today, according to Fintel. Now, again, always keep this in mind. This is Fintel. This is not Ortex. This is not any of the other ones that we do have available to us. I pay for 2 of them. I'm not paying for any more of them because I get enough of a gauge off of these 2 alone. I don't need any other exchanges to be reported to me to know what's happening overall with this stock. That information hasn't changed. Won't for a little bit yet. Let's move over to this. This is our short sale transactions. We cover this just about every single day. Again, it's been a while since I've thanked the man, and I'm going to thank him right now. Terry, thank you very much. This did come from Terry Yonkers. We now call him Terry Stonkers because he is covering the stonks that everybody likes to play with. So he's the one who basically started this whole entire graph idea. I've just followed off of it and continue on in case there's people here that watch me and don't watch him. So here's what we've got. This is as of yesterday. We had 121 transactions. That was about 260,000 shares shorted in for a grand total of $1.3 million. And again, this is only against the EDX and the BATS, and that's not every single transaction. This is only transactions of $5,000 or more. If it is under $5,000, it will not show up on this list. And that is because they don't record it. They don't have the capability of recording that much right now, according to them. So, yeah, see, these are the exchanges that are included. And BYXX and EDGA, you'll see very little on these lists. That covers TA. We did the options chain. We've gotten through Fintel and Ortex. Let's look at Meta. Meta news, nothing today. That's okay. We don't need a whole lot of news to go green. That's obvious. We finished up today. George did put out something today. This thing right here. I've got it here. I went ahead. So, I'm Smooth Braid Ape, guys, and you guys know this. When I first seen these German posts and stuff and these other language posts, I had no clue how to do this. Come to find out, if you right click, you can come over here into the translate thing. See, it says translate to English. I already did it, but you can translate just about anything into English. Pretty cool. You don't have to go word by word like I was doing. I admit it. I'm smooth. It happens. I eat crayons. All right, so anyway, if you want to go through here, you can go to Twitter. You can find George Palikaris. He is at Palikaris, and he has this posted right there. You can read it for yourself. Pretty cool article. It just covers a lot of the stuff we already know. We got nanotech coming up next month. In fact, Sterling will. I've watched him many a times over the last few days, stating that he is going to be going live for this, I believe, this nanotech thing next week. So stay tuned for that. I will try and watch it as well. I love it when Sterling goes live. I will never impede on him when he goes live. I'm not going to go live, so don't ask. When Sterling's live. I actually try to watch him. Let's see here. I didn't read everything on here. You know, got lots to do. Busy guy. Worked all day, came home, did some family stuff. Got my cool not studio set up, and I keep kicking my desk. Sorry, I'm vibrating everything. All right, yeah. So I think that covered everything. The only thing we need to do now is go over my prediction. Let's get that all set up. Oh, and in case you haven't noticed, guys, that cup and handle is just continuing. It's really looking nice. And look at that candle pushing up there. Let's get our lines in here. 5-minute chart. All right, so with the way we ended today, here's what I would like to see. Totally flat. Of course, opening up at that 530 mark where we closed. Of course, we can be plus or minus 5 cents. I always say that. So between 530 and 535, all the way down from 530 to 525. Let's start with the bearish prediction. If we go bear, which keep this in mind, it is Friday. I always say on Fridays that you can expect for a bear day. You can expect for a red day. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but you can expect it. Main reason being, day traders and swing traders like to pull their positions through the weekend. The after hours into the weekend become volatile, and the pre-market into Monday becomes volatile. And these guys generally don't wake up and get moving until about, an hour, hour and a half before the market. And there's already been a lot of trading that has happened on low volume. And it can actually wreck a portfolio if you have stuff scattered out in very risky stocks like penny stocks or even under $10 stocks. You can consider them risky stocks. So yeah, that's what you could always expect from a Friday is sell-offs due to not so much fear, but protection of their assets. Small hedge funds do that. Again, day traders, swing traders, things like that. So if we go bear, expect for an immediate dip all the way back down into the 510 range, maybe even seeing 505 like we did see today. And then probably a bounce off of that back up to the 520 channel, expecting it to bounce off of that a couple of times, maybe even popping back above it, ultimately finishing just below it, probably in the 520 to 510 channel in that area. That's where I would see a bear day. And of course, these are definitely not 100% channels and lines and everything like that. I sit here and I squiggle and I do this. I really like to shake the screen. So just keep in mind what I'm calling out are just rough estimates on where I think it can tap and touch and go. So, and that's just off of line support and resistance that we've set up in the past. Now, if we go bull, let's scroll down this way. We've had a strong day. I obviously think we're going to make an immediate test of 535. That's a strong level, in my opinion. We crack through 535. We're going to hit the 545 to 550 channel. I give this a 5-cent channel because it seems like right in here, it likes to fake out, break out, and come back down and do that a couple of times. So 545 to 550, I think we'll trade there for a little while, providing we get there. We have to have the volume to get there first. We crack through 550 with good volume, 565 to 575. 575 is going to be crucial. 575, 580 is crucial numbers. How do my lines keep moving? All right. Scroll back down. In fact, here we are. That's, dang it. 590. All right, so 575 to 580 is going to be the biggest level before $6. I put 590 in here just because it's tapped off of it a couple times. It's not super strong, but look for rejection. It could be minor. Maybe even consolidation across it for a short amount of time. $6 being the next biggest level. If we get through $6 tomorrow, I'd be dang surprised. But if we do, we're looking for probably just the quarter, 625, 645, 650, roughly. None of this is going to be super major levels of resistance because we soared through this coming down. Remember, levels of resistance and support are judged by their strength by how many times the stock has bounced off of them. We really haven't bounced off of any of these levels. We have just soared through them. We've tapped them and gone. So $7 being probably your next biggest level after 680. Seems to me like the 80s of every single dollar seem to be pretty strong. So, that's what I got for you. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do. Make sure you comment below. Do everything for the algorithm that you can do. Those comments really, really help. Also, sharing the video, physically sharing the video. There's a little thing down there that looks like an arrow, reverse arrow, something like that. That's your share arrow. If you grab and copy the link, you could spread that across the media waves, put that on every single social media site you can. Get the word of Meta out there. The more people hear about Meta, the more they can see that the stock is growing in the positive trajectory in a slow and steady pace, the more they're going to want to jump in. You're going to get more buying pressure, and it's going to cause for more upwards action. And that's what we want to see. Peace.